That's fine, my brother.
Oh, how are you?
Yeah, Jingala, Jingiwala. How's where are you again?
I'm in Thailand. I can't
Wow.
keep up with you. I can't keep up with you.
Yeah, not many people can unless you're a creator,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, do you want
Yeah.
to? We'll start straight away. I'll just for anyone watching, well, I'll let you introduce yourself. But it's Sydney Roberts, Mebbingarri. You've been zooming, jet setting all around the country, doing very important work. I haven't seen you since Lismore, but do you want to just introduce yourself and then tell us where you are at the moment?
Yeah. Hi everyone. My name is Mebbingarri, Cindy Roberts. I come from the Widjabul tribe, and we are a tribe of the Bundjalung Nation. And I'm currently in Sydney, getting ready to fly out to Broome. And we are hitting the remote communities. And not only that, not only are we, trying to reach our people, but we're actually trying to reach all Australians, so the people are informed of what they're actually up against, and the true agenda, the real agenda of what we're dealing here when we talk about this referendum and this voice to Parliament. So that's where we're at, Dale, and we've just been on a mission,
Yeah,
through this process, and it's been a bit of a struggle because, as you know, we're not funded either. So it's been a grassroots, and it's been by the public. The people have been making this all possible, Dale. Wanting us out there as the sovereigns, as the original tribal sovereign people of this continent, and it's been through the help of the public. The Australian people have made all this possible for us to do this groundwork. No government, no political party, no no campaign.
you're on mute, Cindy. You clicked mute. You'll have to unmute. Cindy, you're on mute. You're on mute. Hang on. You there?
Is that? Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, no, you might. I don't know if I clicked it or you. Sorry. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
do you want to just explain like what you're actually been doing, right? Because well, we can get to the voice in a minute, but what specifically have you been doing as far as going around and visiting all these tribes? And yeah, do you want to just explain that?
Yeah, well, it first began just in my own country 9 months ago. It's been 9 months for me since I've been, ever since I've started. So, Dale, as you remember that when I told you about the voice, and that was nearly 9 months ago, my brother. So it's been, and I haven't stopped, and I have continued on the ground, giving it everything I got, fighting for our country, fighting for my people, fighting for the Australian people in regards of exposing this voice to Parliament, and what this is truly about. If the Australian people, so we started, as you know, that when it started from the beginning of the year, and that was, that would have been about January, February when it first came into light, you know what I mean? So, so from there, Dale, since the last time we've met, brother, I have been on a mission and I have not stopped. So it went from, just starting lighting little fires in my own community, spreading the word, and then from there, just traveling around to the community, spreading the word, about this voice to Parliament, and then heading to Sydney. And then, so that's where I started. The first big protest was in Sydney at Kurnell. And then from there, we took it to Melbourne. From there, we brought it back to Sydney. From there, we went to Brisbane. From there, we went to Adelaide. And this is all been at a grassroots, level.
So, Cindy, can I jump in for 1 second? With how you've got the I don't know what you call it, your tribal skin, right? With all the names,
treaty.
the treaty. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to get to. So you've been going around with that treaty, right? And then you've been you've been approaching these other nations as well, and forming your own treaties, right? Within your jurisdiction. So yeah, if you want to just update us how that's going. Are you allowed to talk about that or what you've been doing?
Of course, 100%. Yes, 100%. I can talk about that. Well, the treaties are between
so these are real treaties, right? Not the treaty that they're trying to form.
Yeah. So these are the real treaties. So these treaties are between tribes and not with government. See, you cannot treaty. The living and the dead cannot treaty between each other. So when we talk about a corporation is a dead entity. It's a dead corpse. The living cannot treaty with a corporation. The living cannot treaty. You can't treaty with the dead. You can only treaty sovereign to sovereign or nation to nation, you know, as long as they're sovereign nations and they're the original sovereign to the land. So we can only treaty from tribe to tribe, nation to nation, as the tribal people, you know, and as sovereign to sovereign. That's the only.
Sydney, you're muted again. You're muted again. Hang on. Can you unmute? I don't know.
Are you there?
That's really weird. Did you press anything?
Are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you.
I'm just going to wait there. Give me 2 secs. I'm just going to put do not disturb on my phone, okay?
Oh, okay. That's what's happening.
Yeah, that's why. So people are trying to contact me while I'm yeah, it's pretty. But yes, so let me just show you. I'm just got a sister here. Pauline. Yes, sis. Can I have your help, please? So this is what I'm going to show you. Yahweh. Can you hold this phone right there? Okay. Okay, Australia. Okay, everybody. So these are the tribal treaties, right? So these are the skins. So what I want to show you, you want to go back a bit?
Yeah, so do you want to explain this for everyone what this is, right?
So these are the tribal treaties. This treaty, no. Yeah, yeah. So you can't move it because I'll lose you. Come a bit closer, come down. Yeah. So, okay, I'm losing you.
Hold it there. Got it.
There's a glitch.
Yeah.
So these are the widgeable. So they're glitching. These are the widgeable. This is a widgeable tribal treaty. So we have now five treaties. There's so much glitching. Wow. I'm losing.
Hey,
can you see?
I'll screenshot that and I can put that as a cover picture actually. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So this is no, it's okay. Because when I'm too far away, it glitches. Okay. So yeah, these are the it's glitching. So these are the treaties, my friends, and these treaties are done between tribes. So, and what they actually do is that these are under tribal law. So the writing aligns between each other, but behind the writing. So as long as they all align and they all state the same thing of protecting one another under tribal jurisdiction, each tribe holds their own customary law. So they all practice their own law behind their own treaties. See, I can't go into another tribe's country and, you know, practice or tell them, you know, about, you know, this is what they should be doing, you know, under tribal law. Each tribe has their own way of doing things under their customary laws. So this is why, as a Widjabul people, we have our own customary laws that apply to the treaties. So that's why we uphold one another's. We uphold and we respect. You know, we respect the other tribes' customary laws under them treaties. But this is what I want to read to you, Dale. This is what the treaties say. So,
please.
So if you was another tribe, Dale, and just say you know, you're the Ohms tribes. So when you sign this treaty, this is what it says. So you being the other tribe, as you read this treaty, this is what you would agree upon when you sign our treaty. We, the undersigned, which is the other tribes, we, the undersigned tribes, clans, family of our respective tribal nations, hereby and acknowledge, recognise, respect and support the national sovereignty and territorial integrity of Widjabul, the rights of the Widjabul people to self-determination, the rights of the Widjabul people to protect, defend and conserve the country, their culture and lawful rights, agree to uphold our diplomatic relations with Widjabul with respect and peace, that the rights of all the people dwelling upon Widjabul lands are protected under Widjabul tribal jurisdiction. That there automatically locks out any corporate, any foreign influence, any foreign jurisdiction or any foreign entities under tribal jurisdiction, under Widjabul tribal jurisdiction. Well, foreigners have no rights upon our country. And plus, not only that, the treaties, under international laws, we have the right to self-determine. So we have the power.
How many other tribes have you treated with, and what's your expectation?
We've got 5 other tribes. We have 5 other tribes. There's 5 tribes that have already treated between each other within the Bundjalung Nation. So we have 5 treaties between the tribes with Widjabul. So we have Walabul, we have Yagal, we have Nabajing, we have Nanjabul, and we have Widjabul. So I think that's the 5 of them. So there's 5 treaties within the Bundjalung so far, and then you have and then you've got the Guigal, where the British colony first made contact with the Guigal. The Guigal now have a treaty also. And then we got Far North Queensland that are doing up their treaties. And then we have other tribes that are reaching out saying, I'd like to do a treaty. So we have
Is it because a lot of the tribes now see the urgency and the necessity to make treaty because they're trying to form this non-lawful treaty, right? With the future, with the corporation, right?
That's right.
That's what the voice is kind of all about, that they're trying to make an unofficial united group to then they can make a treaty. So is that what you're attempting to do, to get on the front foot and do it yourself, to actually do a lawful treaty?
Well, the treaty that they're asking for, right, holds no validity. It has no power, and it's unlawful. It holds nothing. And this is why the treaties between tribes, and this is what I was taking the next step, because what I was going to do was do a call out to all the tribes, all the sovereign tribal people, all the original sovereign tribal people of the world, of the globe, to treaty with us. So we would like all the tribes from around the world to treaty with the sovereigns, with the original people, with the original tribal sovereign people of this continent. So I would love to do a call out, Dale, to all the tribes, from Hawaii to the islands, you know what I mean, to Alaska, to the Native Americans, to all of them, that they would treaty with the original sovereign tribal people of this continent. Because see, what the corporates are trying to do, they're trying to supersede the sovereignty of all the tribal people of the globe, right? To override us so they could take ownership of our lands. But if all the original tribes came together to treaty between each other as the rightful sovereigns, as the law keepers of that country, of them lands, because we hold the rightful law, as a tribal people to these countries and to this, you know, and to this continent. So, you know, this is where we're going back to. We're going back to the beginning. So when everyone talks about this new world and you know, we're coming into the new world, don't you think that this is a part of it, that we need to even come back to the truth? Yeah. You know, because this is a part, when you talk about the new world, is it talking about, you know, coming back to the original sovereign tribal people of that country, of them lands? Because this is what we're doing. Why should this Australian corporate government that has no jurisdiction to even, you know, be governing or making decisions or you know, anything over the Australian people, when the Australian people never ever gave consent for a corporation to be running their affairs, you know, to be making laws over their lives? You know, the Australian people never signed up to that. The Australian people have never given that consent, because the last time I remembered is that the Australian citizens were all under the Commonwealth and not a corporation. When did that changeover begin? When did that happen without the consent of the Australian people?
I think that this is what I want to ask you. So first, I want to ask, what's it been like on the ground with the people you've been meeting? But I mean, how do you see it? Because to me, you got to think, like, why is it so important what they're trying to do, right? And they made a very big mistake many years ago, that they either didn't wipe out the original people here, and that the people here never gave up sovereignty. And it's been a bug in their chain for, you know, 200 odd years. So that's for me, I think it's such a huge prize globally, because so many of these countries are already under, right? And and it's I just can't look back at the significance of what they're trying to do here. It's like, this is kind of the last bastion here with the tribes. So how do you see it on the ground, and particularly within the tribal communities or the Aboriginal communities? What's the consensus there? Are you having to have a lot of conversations with, or debates with different people, and have you been persuasive? Because I mean, you're a brilliant talker. Actually, that's what I wanted to say too. That interview that you did on that radio, it said your name was Sandy, but it was you. I've gone, that's not Sandy, that's Cindy. Honestly,
no, Dale, I got to tell you this story. My name was blacklisted, so no one wouldn't let me on air.
Right.
So, anyways,
hey, I did that one. Oh, Cindy, you're on mute again. You're on mute again.
Right. Sorry about that.
No, yeah, I just want to say, I mean, I told you privately, but I mean, you talk with spirit all the time, but you were just so perfectly concise and passionate and articulate, and it was just fantastic. And the power of the way that you speak was proven by how far and wide that got spread. So it was
well, it was my mum. I got to tell you, it was my mum's idea. There's the masterminder, because this is what she said. She said, change your name.
Yeah. Well, obvious.
Yeah, so my mum, and I thought about it, and I'm thinking, no, I'm ringing them up. Anyways, and I said, I don't want to disclose I said, I want to remain anonymous. And they said, no, sorry, we can't do this. We can't do that, you know. Anyways, and I said, well, and I said, oh, well, my name is Sandy. And he said, well, I know that's not your name, but anyways.
Yeah, well, you got a pretty distinctive voice. Someone sent it to me, and I'm like, that's Cindy.
Yeah, anyways, and
it was very good.
It was pretty, you know, but that was, well done to my mum. I just took her advice and I just went for it, and I thought he was going to hang up on me. That's why I was trying to get it all out there so quick. Amazing. I wouldn't even let him.
Yeah, he really let you talk, didn't he? So
I thought he was going to cut me off as soon as I started running down government or telling the truth.
Oh, so actually, before you get to that bit, so who was it that's visiting Bundjalung area at the moment, right?
Yeah.
Why? You want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I don't appreciate, like Thomas Mayer. Let me just get this straight. So we've got Kerry O'Brien from the ABC, and we've got Thomas Mayer, which it was his original name before he changed it to Mayo to make out he's a black fella, from this country. And but just remember that this guy has no bloodline connection to our tribes from this continent. So I just wanted to make this clear that the Torres Strait Islanders are PNG descendants. They do not speak for this country, and they are not First Nations people of this country. So when we talk about that, there's a fine line there, because they work for the British colony. So when the Queensland government set up when they set up their colony within Queensland, the Torres Strait Islander, the PNG and the Torres Strait Islanders, they work for the Queensland government. They work for the British colony, and they actually were a part of the massacre of our people. So they are no different from others that came across these seas on boats, that work for the Crown. And you know what? And they're no different from the South Sea Islanders that actually built the east coast of Australia, that are not recognised in their flags, and they done more work on this country than any Torres Strait Islander ever have on this continent. So if you know about the South Sea Islanders, they were on the blackbirding trail. They were brought over here from the Kanaka Islands, from the South Sea Islanders, and they were brought across here as slaves. They worked the east coast of Australia. They built the townships actually all the way up and down Dale, but you don't see them jumping up and down for their flag to be flowing in this country. So you need to question a lot of things in this country.
Yeah, I've
so
never
what makes
heard
it?
this.
Yeah, but can I just finish on this?
Okay.
So what makes them any different, right? So what makes them any different from all the Australians that were brought over here, of making them First Nations also? What makes it any different from the South Sea Islanders of being First Nations? So why are the Torres Straits being treated differently when they do not come from here also? So if you have a look at the referendum booklet on page 14, it says that if you say yes, the constitution alterations state that a yes will recognise Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders as First Nations people. Well, you need to just pause right there, because Torres Straits are not First Nations people of this country. They did not come from here. They were under maritime admiralty law. They come from the islands and not mainland. Right, so there's a fine line here. So when we talk about the islands, we're talking about Thursday Island here, who's a part of this continent. We're talking about Stradbroke, who's a part of this continent. We're talking about the Tiwi, Bathurst Islands that are part of, and Galawinku, Elcho Island. We're talking about Tasmania, that's a part of these islands. You know what I mean? So we need to be clarifying here what families are actually connected to this mainland. And that there is just wrong in every which way. So this government has actually planned this for a long time. They have been conspiring against our people. They have been plotting and planning for a very long time for the takeover of this country, and more or less handing our country over to another race of people that do not come from here. This is genocide against my people, Dale, So there's a deal that's been done, and I know all about the deals that were done from the 1967 referendum to the 1978 treaty between Papua New Guinea and over the Torres Strait Islanders with the Australian government, to the Mabo case. Just remember who created native title. And I'm reminding all the people now that native title was created by the United Nations. That is a part of the agenda that's yet to come. The UN, the mandates, everything. As soon as you contract, they come in and they take over. So this is what it's all about. This referendum should have been called a referendum of consent, because they're going to kill two birds with one stone through this referendum, Dale. And it's really, really sad that my people cannot see that the ones that are saying yes, they have no idea of what is coming, because they're blind to the spirit.
What would you say to those people that that traditional Australians, what would you say to them that are voting yes, right? Because there's a lot of slander going on each side, but how do you approach talking to them, trying to explain the bigger picture of this globalist agenda and what it's about? What do you bring it down to? How do you speak to them?
Well, firstly, I can't speak to them with money. I have to speak to them, spirit to spirit, because you know what? The only language they're all speaking right now is money, and that's something that we don't have, Dale. So when we're up against government, you got to speak that language. They only speak in that money language. They don't even want to hear what we have to say. They don't want to hear and even hear what's the bigger agenda, because their mind is so closed off from the truth, because their mind is so disconnected from spirit. So we're struggling in this area. So when one is corrupted by money, it's hard for them to see anything other. And that's what we're struggling with, because many are corrupted by money and they can't see beyond it. And this is what we're dealing with. But if I did, so can I just correct you on one thing? When we say the traditional Australians, can you refer to my people as the originals?
Yeah, this is half the problem, Cindy, because there's so many. I've got no problem with that, man.
Yeah,
I prefer that myself, but
yeah. And then I know what you're talking about.
You get caught in this linguistic bullshit, and that's actually that's been driven through the UN too. Even the First Nations thing was brought through the UN itself. Even that So
I'm a bloodline. See, I'm a bloodline, of the original tribal sovereign. I'm a descendant. So even though that people want to call you this or they want to call you that, I don't care what the fuck they call me, because I know who I am and where I come from. I know what I was taught. I know my culture. I know my language. I know my stories and everything like that, of my country and where I come from. So I don't know any other way but me as a widgeable woman, being taught my culture. And so I sort of struggle when because the people that we're dealing with, majority of them are people that living in the cities. Half the time the city don't even know what's going on in the bush, because they're so disconnected. So we're talking about people that are corporate driven, that have lived in the concrete jungle and not in the bush, so disconnected from spirit, so disconnected from culture, so disconnected from a lot of things of who we are as a people, as the original tribal sovereign, descendants of this continent. So many people are so disconnected. Like Linda Burney, she never, that bitch never danced a corroboree in her life. She'd never even been painted up in her life, and gammon walk into a country, and just get a bit of ochre slapped on you don't mean shit.
She's not even a good corporate. She's useless at that as well.
You tell me something, $490 billion gone through her hands. Where's that money for our people? That's a lot of money, Dale. And no audit. There should be a financial audit into these people. And they talk about that my people received this and my people received that. My people have not received any of that. So the Australian people need to be questioning these people that have been appointed, can I say selected, in these positions that only look after their corporate friends, their corporate buddies. They're all laundering money. They're all looking after one another. They all have investments. They all are shareholders, in mining companies and everything like that. They only care about themselves and their own agenda, their own pockets. They don't care about my people, Dale. They don't care about my people in remote communities, in rural, and they don't care about the Australian people. It's not just about my people anymore. It's about all of us, brother. They don't care about us. This government is so disconnected, from the people itself. They don't even serve the people, The people, they're meant to be serving the people, They're meant to be taking advice from the people, serving the people, doing what the people, tell them to do. But there's none of that anymore, Dale. There's none of that. They're actually They don't even listen to the people anymore because they're just making up their own laws and their own rules as they go along, because there is no one to hold them accountable, Dale, because the Australian people have been so compliant, so complicit, and so complacent. I call it the triple C.
Yeah, you're
And
right.
I'm tired.
Look, I admire your tenacity, but more than anything, you don't give up. You just keep barging through. That's what I really admire. But I want to ask you about this actually, because I've been we spoke to someone recently, and they original man over in WA, and he said that like the country gets lonely, and that when people start coming onto country, that it starts thriving more, right? And if you look what the voice is really about, it's about they're going to cut off. It's a big land grab, and they're going to cut all the people off from the land and into the city. So it's actually it's the complete opposite. So do you want to speak to that about the importance of actually going on country and being able to connect and listen? Because like you said, I think that's a lot of this corporate type. They're so disjointed from reality and law, and the law comes from the land, and that they have no connection to the land. So, do you want to explain?
Okay.
Do you want to explain that at all? The importance.
I'm gonna. Yeah. I'll tell you something that happened. I was on the land one time and I was crying out. I was crying out to Creator, and I was crying out to my ancestors. And this one particular time, when I was crying out, Creator and my ancestors spoke to me and said this: the reason why the ancestors are sleeping is because nobody calls out. Nobody dances anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody calls out to them anymore to sing the land up. Our ancestors were only resting because no one was calling them up anymore.
Yeah.
No one was singing them up. No one was bringing the land back to life, because you got to remember, at the end of the day, we come from the land. Nobody owns the land, Dale. Everything belongs to the Creator and to Mother. We belong to the land. You know, that's our DNA. You, me, all creation. And you know what? When we get caught up in a constitution or anything like this, and in these corporations, it disconnects you from who you are, you know, your very being, your very existence, you know, of who we are as spiritual beings, belonging unto Creator, belonging unto the land, belonging unto Mother, belonging unto our ancestors. These corporate globalists want to disconnect us from spirit.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it's about.
That's it.
That's it. Oh, Cindy, it's so. Do you know what that was beautifully said, because what's the land grab about? It's not about opening the land to the people. It's about cutting it off because the people are evil and we need to be in the city. And then we're not connected to the land. We're not connected to spirit. We're not connected to law. That's what it's about. That's the real genesis of what it's about.
Do you know what they've done for so long? The reason why they destroy our cultural heritage sites, the reason why they destroy everything about who we are, because if we've got no country, if we've got no song, if we've got no dance, if we've got no sacred sites, then who are we? Yeah. Who do we become? If they can take away everything of who we are as a people, as the original tribal people of this continent, if they can take everything away from us, it will kill us. They know this, because that's who we are as a people. So if they can take all these things away from us, the very core, the very essence of who we are as a spiritual people, we are, you know, of this continent, tribal people, who we are, who we are of this continent, if they can take away the very essence of our being, of our life, of our connection to country, and what connects us to country, all of these, they come together. All these elements are a part of it, our song, our dances, our connection, especially because it's in our DNA. If they can break all these things, yeah.
I'm understanding it a lot better, and you put it so well, Cindy. You speak that way. What was I going to say? It's quite sad when you have people like, oh, you're on mute again. It's quite sad when I've seen people like Adam Goods, who I think is a good person, but just has been used. They butted him up for a long time, and then he's being used against the very thing that he believes he's standing up for. But and then you got other people like Anthony Mundine, who has never been able to be bought. He kind of doesn't give a fuck. And that's why I've always loved him, whether you agree with what he talks about or not.
No one can still buy him. He still stands in his truth and in his power.
I love
when he
it.
believes in something.
Yeah, to me, I wouldn't say idolized, but he's always been someone I looked up to, even when I was a lot younger, just because I just respect that he's his own person. And that he can't be bought, right? He doesn't know everything, but he's his own man. And I respect that.
And Dale, can I just say something to everybody out there, if that's all right, especially to the Australian people. When I talk about they want to kill two birds with, one stone, the first bird is us, the original tribal sovereign people. So in order for this corporate government to take ownership, and in order for the Australian corporate government to become a republic, for this country to become a republic, and for the UN mandates or whatever it may be, they need to supersede our sovereignty. So in order to supersede our sovereignty, then they take ownership of the land. But firstly, to supersede our sovereignty, they have to get us into that constitution to take our tribal lands from us, for them to take full ownership. Yeah. Secondly, the second bird is the Australian people. So I don't know if you're quite aware, Dale, but the Commonwealth has shut their doors and have gone into liquidation, and their assets, their cargo, their property, their cargo is the Australian citizens, because they are British citizens under the Commonwealth, right? So in saying that, the Commonwealth has closed their doors. So in order for the Australian people now, who are Commonwealth property, Commonwealth cargo, so in order for that, for the cargo now to be transferred into the corporation, they need to have consent of the Australian people.
Yeah.
In order for them to have consent, they need a referendum.
Yeah.
They're in transit mode. There's a transaction happening between Commonwealth, because the Australian people are not under the Australian corporate government, never have been. They need to hold a referendum for the transaction to take place. They actually use my people to bring the referendum into existence. They were going to kill two birds with one stone, to take ownership of the land, to get our people into the Constitution. And the secondly is they need the consent of the Australian people to be under and put into the corporation. See the trickery, the connivingness? So we'll be all under corporate global control.
And
That's the big agenda.
you can I've kind of read it too, that even the Crown itself is on its official last legs. Like even Jamaica has pulled out of the Commonwealth. So to me, it's like this rapid attempt to make this contract.
Why did Dan Andrews stop the Commonwealth Games?
Yeah. That's yeah. Do you want to talk about that? Because when I first heard that, I'm like,
because the Commonwealth doesn't exist here.
Does it?
There's a great example. How about you start there? There's no Commonwealth. This is a corporate. Commonwealth has no jurisdiction upon this soil. There's no Commonwealth. So all the Australian people that were once under, the property of the Commonwealth left their cargo behind. The Commonwealth have left its property behind. So the Australian corporate government, everything they've been doing right now is unlawful. They actually have no jurisdiction. They hold no validity. They're actually, the Australian corporate government are actually, right? They're actually illegal. They're actually occupying on our land illegally. They are actually our property right now, right? But what they do need is that they need the consent now of all the Australians for them to become corporate citizens.
Yeah, it's corporate contracts, right? They need the consent.
They need all the people to contract. So the more people that walk in there and get their names ticked, you just contracted a fairy tale to bring it into life. Because this referendum, it wasn't, as you know, that a referendum needs to be signed off by a king, by a queen, by the Commonwealth, whatever. They can't sign it. Yeah. This is an unlawful proceedings with that holds no legitimacy. This is actually all fiction. It's fake. And they're actually calling a referendum. Wow.
But
upon this continent that holds no validity.
I see the positive out of them attempting to do this too, because it's brought all this that you've been speaking about to light, right? And it's brought a lot of that to light to the common Australian that didn't know anything about this. So
100% agree. I totally agree with you.
Even the fact, like when you got on that radio, like how many people would have heard that and listened to that and said, what the hell is this woman talking about? What's she talking about, the 60 referendum? And
I know, right? It's like,
so yeah, it has created a lot of public awareness. But like, what do you see happening? Do you think like they've pretty much said that the no vote is more than likely going to win, right? But there's always tomfoolery. But what do you expect if it did go through? What would be the initial steps?
Well, that's where the Australian people need to rise up. That's all I've got to say. Because when you know that you won a battle, are we going to let this be a Trump and a Biden situation? Are we going to allow that to actually take place in this country where, they're going to rig elections? They're going to do us wrong? Don't sit back complicit and compliant and complacent and tolerate and allow this bullshit on this country. We cannot continue to live under fiction anymore. I call them fictional characters, the whole lot of them. And they're all under, they're all acting. That's what I call the actors, because they're all actors. This is Australian Hollywood. They're all fictional characters and they all look like fucking clowns, And you know what? We're all on the Monopoly board and we're all playing a part of it. And it's like, get off the Monopoly board, get out of the matrix. Let's stand against this fiction and let's stand united as a people and to stop this bullshit in this country. We are realists. We are spiritual people. We are more connected to this land, than you look at you look around the globe and around the world, what's happening in all the countries. You know what, Dale? We have been protected by spirit, that we are not in that constitution, that we do not have a treaty, we are in a position where all eyes of the world are going to be upon this country right now, because we are in a position to stand as a people united, no more divided, and you know, no more of this divide and conquer. You know, we know what the government is capable of now. We know their tricks. We know, you know, their schemes, you know, and obviously you're still going to have those little sheep that love, you know, following them, but they are outnumbered. At the end of the day, we are the majority, and it's the power of the people that rule at the end of the day. And we need to show this. I'm not even going to call them a government, because they're masquerading as a government. They are imposters. They are fraudulent. They have no jurisdiction. They are, you know, illegal occupiers. They are, you know, everything they're doing is just wrong and unlawful. You know, they are an unlawful, you know, law in themselves. How long did they think that they were going to get away with this, Dale?
For me, they can see it coming. They can see it coming. That's why it's such a frantic attempt. But if you like these rallies, they're not rallies or whatever you want to call them, but there's events going on. Was it? So next week, did you plan all this nationwide one? Was this you?
Yep, that's me. You know.
So Sydney, you got Canberra going, and now like hopefully this is like, I'm a bit disappointed I'm not in Australia, but it's, so what is it? The 23rd of September?
No,
that's a different one.
Not that. There's this Saturday coming is a nationwide.
Okay. Well, do you want to explain for those listening what's planned?
On the 16th of September, there's a nationwide, every state, every city, every town. So wherever you are, and if you want to arrange your own, you know, hit the streets. It's a street party. Bring the music out. Do what you need to do, but come out with your banners, standing up against government and saying no to this referendum, no to this voice, no constitutional change, you know, no contracting, whatever it is that you want to hit the streets of Australia with on this coming Saturday, the 16th of September. But you know what? My message to the Australian people and to my people, make it loud and clear, and let the government hear you. Let every premier throughout the states hear the message that we will not contract, we will not be a part of this fictitious, belligerent, you know, unlawful occupiers that are masquerading as a government, you know, upon this country, in this country anymore, that, you know, we the people will not tolerate anymore. Just hit the streets and make it loud and clear, and send a message to government, you know, masquerading, imposters, actors. I call them fictional characters.
So where are you going to be? You'll be in WA by then, yeah?
Well, I'm going to make noise in the bush, and I'm going to go live making noise in the bush. But you know what? I'll be in spirit. You know, I always said wherever I am and wherever I end up, that's where I'll be making noise from. You know, so wherever I'll be, whether or not I'll be by a fire or whatever, but I will be singing and I will be dancing and I will be praying and I will be making noise against this government. I make a lot of noise now. It's time for Australia to do it.
Yeah, if we had
it's your turn, Australia. It's your turn. It's your turn, my people. You know. So it's their turn, you know. You got to give me a little bit of time out, but I'll be still there on the 16th with everyone in spirit, regardless, throughout this country. I'm with everyone in spirit, Dale. And Dale, can I just say something, my brother?
Yeah, go ahead.
Always remember that creator spirit, no colour. That we are all one people and we are family. And the reason why the governments continue to divide us, you know, by race, by colour, by religion, whatever it may be, by gender, Creator spirit loves us all. And we can't allow governments to divide and conquer us anymore. But we are, but to unite as a people, because enough is enough of the lies, the tyranny, all this, everything. They are treasonous. They have done so much wrong to the people throughout the world. These same
to take it
corporate,
back to that is like spirit has no color.
Yahweh. These corporate globalists. So when we talk about the Australian corporate, you got to remember that this government, the Australian corporate government, they serve a master. And these masters now want global control, and that's why they're coming for our country. So Australia, it's time to get out of that comfort seat of yours and start standing up for your country and start making noise. So the 16th of September, Dale, is the nationwide, and I know that there's the following right. Saturday also. But just keep going. Just keep making noise. Regardless of who's holding these rallies, just keep making noise. But this coming Saturday is the nationwide. So Australia, hit the streets, make your banners and make noise and let the government hear you roar. The masquerading government.
Yeah, well, I know that you're doing like a lot of travel and a lot of work on the ground. How can people support you, if it's financially or whatnot, while you're doing what you're doing?
They can follow me on Instagram, Dale, and just send me love. Just that support, that little.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you have any donate page, or you're right?
Oh yeah, there is a donation if anyone wants to make a contribution. If they can go to my Instagram at Mebbingarri, MEBBINGARRI. That is at Mebbingarri. And if you have a look at my Instagram bio link, Dale, so the bio link is there. There's a donation page there. And not only that, there's a reel there with the donation details. So if they want to jump on my Instagram page and have a look at the bio, everyone, if you want to donate to the cause, we are on the ground. We're actually not government funded. We are not funded by any political party. This actually is a grassroots movement, and it's been through the power of the people, the support of the public, and that's what's made all this possible for me, myself, and myself and others to hit the ground and inform all Australians, and not even, even our own people about the truth about this voice to Parliament and the referendum itself, that the whole thing is an unlawful process. So I don't know if you're aware, but majority of our elders, majority of the nations and tribes and all the clans have not been consulted in regards to this voice to Parliament.
But they say that, Cindy.
No.
Yeah, what a
yeah,
joke.
They say that. What they say and what they do are completely two different things, Dale. They will do anything to please, but they've been caught out on this one. They've been caught out even by the Uluru elders, Dale, that are doing a call out, also for the truth.
Yeah. So, do you want to talk about that at all? Because I don't know much about that, but I've seen you post about it. Do you want to tell us what's happening there?
So if anyone wants to jump onto my Instagram and have a look at the reels, you will see that one of the reels is Uncle Murray George. Uncle Murray George is what is it? Oh, my mind is so blank. Oh God, don't even go there, Cindy. Anyways, he's one of the senior lawmen what is it, Pauline? Anyways, he's one of the senior lawmen, and all the senior lawmen throughout the community surrounding the Uluru, the original families and the original custodians of Uluru are calling out to the Uluru dialogue mob fraudulent. The Uluru Statement to the Heart is a fraudulent document, and now the original families of Uluru are calling these people out. So what they want to do is they want to do up another statement to override the corporate.
All right.
Yeah, Gilpy. So Gilpy. Yeah, that's the one.
So did they have any consultation when they wrote up
Can
this?
I just show them that real quick one? So if you go to my Instagram, if everyone could see this, can you see that?
No, I can't. Hold it closer.
No, it won't let me do that.
Send me the picture after this, Cindy. I'll crop it in. Yeah,
okay. So Uncle Murray George is actually he is Gilpy Jura, and he is a Gilpy. Yeah. Anyways, so he's one of the senior lawmen of Murajulu, of Uluru, and Uncle Murray and many others have come together and to stand against the Uluru Statement that they done up, that they were not included in. So these people have lied to the wider Australia. They have lied to our people. They have lied to government, and so they're calling it out.
Oh, that's great. So yeah,
it's fraud. Yeah. So the senior lawmen and the women are calling these dialogue, these Uluru Statement dialogue people, especially Thomas Mair. Remember, he took it and he ran with it, and he doesn't even come from here. He has no tribal bloodline. He has no bloodline connection to our country. So here we have got a non-original man running around with the Uluru Statement from the heart, and he doesn't even come from here, and he can't even speak for our tribes, Dale.
Yeah, I mean, it's ludicrous. You mentioned him before. Yeah. Is he Torres Strait? Is that his?
Yeah, PNG. He's Filipino, Malay, PNG, Torres Strait. No bloodline connection, and that's why the men. I keep on saying to the men, please stand up and confront this man, because he does not come from any of our tribes.
I can't believe he's meeting in your country this weekend. Like, I can't.
I know, right?
Like, there is no way they would have came if you were there. There is no way. They know.
Well, he's going to get a shock. Yeah, he's going to get a shock because he's going to get a surprise party. All the elders, my uncles, they all know he's coming. They're all ready. They're ready to go.
Tell him to get some video footage if you can, Cindy. That would be awesome.
Yeah, well, we've got other people going that are going to record for me.
Yeah, don't say anything. We'll see what happens, eh?
Way. So I'm open. I'm open. So many know, and I ain't finished. I only just got warmed up to let only a few know. Imagine when I let all of them know that he's coming.
So what is it? Is it this weekend? Is it?
Yeah, well, he chose it, and you know what? It was sort of funny because even others said he knew you wasn't going to be here on your country. He's so.
But it's like how anyone can't see this guy is a corporate guy. He's pushed all this UN shit. You're saying he's not even bloodline connected to the country. He spoke about his his affiliation with communism. It's like they're making it pretty obvious for you. They're not making it hard,
And you know what he did? So you know what he was doing? He was a spy in the camp. He was coming with the Uluru Statement to the heart because he had he was working for other people.
Oh, so he looks like
he was traveling through our country with the Uluru Statement to the heart. He was actually paid to do all this because he was infiltrating a bigger agenda. So what he was doing, how can I put it? Not infiltrate, but conspiring. And he was working for someone higher. So he was traveling out with the Uluru Statement because it was all planned. So he was getting to know you know, who we were as a grassroots people, the stuff that we were doing. Let me use something as an example. So where I'm from, we had a little group that we called, and it was for our community, you know, like we used to call it pay the rent, you know.
Wow.
So we used to have this little grassroots that helped us, you know, and it was called pay the rent, and we just called it because it was a grassroots thing, Dale.
Yeah, so they've hijacked that term.
Yeah, and turned it into. So this was something that was actually a little grassroots. We're ashamed now. Many of my people are ashamed to even use it now because of arseholes like Thomas Mayer that have come in and got to know, you know, our grassroots stuff of what we do, took it on board as their own and called it Reparations. Now look what they've done. They turned something that was actually a little something that the grassroots was using, you know, to generate their own little income so they could do cultural stuff on country. And, you know, we had these little, you know, pay the rent jars that people just dropped something in so we could do stuff, you know what I mean? And we just made it simple. It was just pay the rent.
Right. Yeah, so
and people just dropped a
hijacked
donation. And they did, and they made it look ugly now, and it was actually a grassroots thing. So these arseholes have come in and stolen everything. Look, they have stolen so much from us, from our culture to our songs to our, you know, everything of who we are, even our little, you know, just our little, what do you call it? Just stuff like that, like little pay the rent, little, you know, movements or little structures that, you know, our people created from the ground.
everything,
you know?
all the the smallest aspects of culture, everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
I'm all for reparations, but it's got to be the money needs to come from the crown, right? You take the money from the crown.
No. Yeah. 100%.
Not from
And
the
this is
Australian
what,
people.
oh, Dale, this is what I don't agree with, right? So the Australian people owe my people nothing. It's actually the government and the crown that owe my people for what they've done, because everything in this country has been stolen wealth, you know? So why is this government, why is this dialogue mob and the Labor government asking the Australian people to pay for something they did not fucking do wrong? They didn't do anything, Dale. Everyone is feeling guilty, and everyone is feeling like, you know, we need to give back. Not through this process, because what they've done is just wrong, Dale. It's evil. This generation, and you know, they cannot be blamed for something that happened a long time ago.
Yeah,
they've
weaponized the virtue and the goodwill of, you know, and the goodwill of the Australian people and the uneducated goodwill of the Australian people, right? That's what they're.
Yeah, Yahweh. But not only that, they've made the Australian people feel you know, this Labor government, Albanese, has said if you don't vote yes, you're a racist. Well,
So
you know what?
Emotional blackmail.
Emotional blackmail. You know, not only that, it's emotional blackmail, it's emotional manipulation. My message to the Australian people is that you're not a racist if you say, you know, no. You know, actually, you know, because not all of us feel the same way, Dale, but the Australian people owe us nothing, and we don't want the Australian people to feel guilty for something they did not do. And you know, you can't blame one for another man or another woman's actions of something in the past. That is not your responsibility. That is not your burden to carry. You don't, you know, you never done nothing wrong.
Isn't that proper law that the person that did the action is the person responsible? That's law, right?
That's right.
You don't hold that responsibility.
My people are not like this. Who's ever pushing this agenda is not my people, because I know I know these people. So when I look at Thomas Mayer, he's not an original. He has no bloodline connection, so he's not my people. So we've got people like him that are pushing agendas like this because he's not an original sovereign tribal man of this continent. So, you know, that's why we've got people like this that have been selected, not elected, you know, pulling the strings and making the decisions on behalf of our people. This is not right. And you know what? It's not right for the Australian people to be making decisions about us anyways. You know, what gives you the rights? I don't come into your house and I tell you what to do with your family and your children. So what gives any Australian the right to walk into our house, which is our country, our backyard, our own backyard, and tell us, you know, what you know what I mean?
Surely the individual tribes should all make a decision if they want to be in the Constitution. It shouldn't be
That's
on
right.
behalf of, if you're a nation, if you're a tribal nation and you want to be part of the Constitution, that's up to that individual nation, right? And again, that's why they're trying to override it and form it into one corporate body that says this is all the tribes represented, right?
Yeah, Yahweh.
I mean, it's obviously. Anyway, Cindy, I'm going to have to go just because my battery's going to run out. But
okay, but I'll just finish. Can I just finish on this? Yeah, I just want to say, just touching on that, but the referendum, right? In saying that, the referendum is to kill two birds. Remember, you know, one bird is our people and the other bird is the Australian people. So regardless, it was about all of us being put into that corporation for a corporate globalist, for the corporate global. Is it global corporates or global corporates? I don't know. But anyways, it's for them to take over regardless. So it's to get us all into the Constitution, into the corporate Constitution. Anyways, Dale, which Constitution are they talking about, by the way?
Well, you tell me.
That's exactly right. Okay, next time. That'll be your next that'll be the next one. I love you all.
No worries. Well, yeah, so 16th nationwide, and then I think there's another one the week after. But yeah. Much love, Sydney. And we'll chat again soon. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah. So everyone just jump on my if you want to follow me, just at Mebbingarri. Yeah.
I'll put the link under here too, and I'll put that that donation link as well.
Yeah, Yahweh. Thank you, my brother. Bless you.
Love you, mate.
Enjoy Thailand. Enjoy Thailand.
I'm sweating so much.
Is it? You look like you got a bit of a tan there too, mate.
A little bit.
Yeah, Yahweh.
All right.
Hopefully I'll get one in WA. Take care.
Get one over there. All right. See you, Cindy.
I love you, my brother. Good work.
Bye. You too. Bye.
Take care.